Monday Night Football in the house tonight. Tom Vecchio, Donnie right side here. We got Arizona and Dallas tonight. An interesting game, an interesting matchup. Tomorrow's the trade deadline in the NFL. Crazy week already going down. I think we're getting points on another crazy night tonight. Tom, what are we feeling, huh?
We should be feeling some points. These are two bad defenses, specifically on the Cowboys side of things. We all know this. It's nothing new. We're going to see some points tonight. Do we push all the way over 53? No. But if you told me, we have, I don't know, quick math in my head, 20, 28, 24 final, that puts us at 52. I think that'd still be a great game. I think props are going to be in play the entire time. I don't think we're in for a blowout either side. I don't think either team runs away with it. And there's a lot of different angles to attack tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited for tonight's action. Again, the trade deadline is tomorrow. Jalen Phillips over to the Philadelphia Eagles. A trade just went down a couple minutes ago. Yeah. The Ravens picked up Draymond Jones from the Titans. So a lot of that stuff will filter through for tomorrow. Jerry Jones, Tom, even said that he has a trade already locked in, but he just doesn't want to tell you about it yet. How about that?
And I saw that it was defensive help. Oh, surprise, surprise. Now, I understand they didn't want to pay Parsons, and they can go get someone else that doesn't cost as much. But, call me crazy. I don't think any team wants to give the Cowboys a discount, and I feel that they're going to overpay for like a mid-range player, as they did with Jonathan Mingo last season, and Mingo is inactive tonight.
Yeah. It's funny about that too. Like, whoever Dallas gets, not going to matter. Like, the NFC East looks like it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles as they tee it up. But Jerry Jones, instead of keeping your best defensive player to start the season, have a good season, you're now looking for defensive help. We know how that works out at that point now. But we do have a game to talk about tonight in Dallas. Fast track tonight, of course. It's in a dome. Jacoby Brissett's going to get the start tonight for the Arizona Cardinals and not Kyler Murray, which I don't know if that even makes a big difference or not. And you see some of the pundits out there say the offense basically even runs better as a real offense under, Jacoby Brissett as opposed to Kyler Murray. How do we feel about Jacoby Brissett starting this game instead for you of Kyler Murray, Tom?
I think Brissett is probably one of the more competent backup quarterbacks in the NFL. Do I expect him to put up the same level and volume of numbers that we saw from him in the previous two starts? Probably not. I think he's in for a good game tonight. There's no doubt about it. Do I expect him to throw the ball that much and have that, that volume of yards? Probably not. But I expect the players, McBride, to still have a solid game. Do I expect him to have 300 yards? No, but you tell me McBride, and I don't mean McBride having 300 yards. I mean Jacoby Brissett having 300 yards. But you tell me McBride and Marv Harrison go over their numbers. Bam Knight has a good game. I think those can be in play, and Jacoby takes half a step back from where he was.
Yeah, taking a look at the game tonight, too. Like, the total is 53.5, which I do think we get points. And, again, a good scoring game doesn't actually even have to get to 53. High 40s and that. You'll be able to handle most of your props that you're betting, touchdown props and what have you. But the interesting part here is 75% of the tickets coming in on the Dallas Cowboys. Threes for most of the week, but now we're starting to see it break through, Tom. FanDuel, 3.5. DraftKings, 3.5. BetMGM, 3.5. That number is now above a field goal. Coming off of a bye for Arizona, Dallas got wrecked last week against the Denver Broncos. Like, that side to you tonight. Like, for me, I'm not really a side bettor anymore, but I look at that price point and say, I'll take the 3.5 with Arizona.
Yeah, this morning when we were talking, it was still 3. And, I said I didn't love the 3 if it was a 2.5. And I just said this to Kevin on GTD. If we get an in-game 2.5 for the Cowboys, I will absolutely take it. I will fire on that live, knowing that Brandon Aubrey can win you the game and win you that bet on a 2.5. Now that it's moved past 3 and into 3.5, I think the Cardinals are absolutely a fire. I don't mean you should fire bet. It's a fire bet. You should actually be firing on a 3.5, knowing that it moved past the number, especially this late. If there's this much money going towards Dallas to move the number, I will absolutely take the 3.5 where you can get it.
Mike Parsons there. Ferguson bounce back tonight. We'll get some other prop bets here, see what it goes down. Jay Rose, how about those Dodgers? Fantastic. Love the World Series. Thought it was absolutely fantastic. Our guy JP out there as well. Let's go, fellas. Let's have a night. And he's right. Let's start with the quarterback props in this game, Tom. Dak Prescott and Jacoby Brissett. You're not getting any cheapies here. Dak Prescott, 267.5, and Jacoby Brissett, 238.5. Both of these offenses should have success tonight. Looking at the quarterbacks myself, I do think we're throwing over the lot. Like, there's a legitimate chance that both of these guys go over. If I had to pick one, it's probably still Dak Prescott because he's going to sling it all over. Wide receivers, I get it. But Jacoby Brissett is sneaky. Like, that 238 seems high, but he's been really good, Tom, in his last 2 starts.
He has. I would also side with Dak if I was just looking for raw volume of yards. And, I think Jacoby could very easily go over that number. As I did talk to you this morning, Jacoby under 35.5 attempts is what I like. That number at least has dropped to 34, under 35.5. That number is dropped to 34.5 on FanDuel. You know, we have seen quarterbacks not go over this number frequently against Dallas because their defense is actually so bad that quarterbacks don't need to have 10 or 12 play drives. You can actually get this done in terms of moving the ball in 5-6 plays. So he doesn't need to have these long sustained drives. You're breaking off chunk plays that pick up 30 yards at a time. You don't need to have 36 pass attempts.
Yeah, taking a look here at the touchdown props. Dak Prescott's 2.5 listed there at plus 156. Jacoby Brissett over 1.5. He's minus 154. The one, like every time, Tom, we look at like some different markets, whether it's team totals in Major League Baseball, like RBI props, over 1.5 props. The evolution of the betting cycle is like, okay, so like a newer market sorts to get in there. And this, I'm not saying this is a new market. It gets bet. It's very good because over the first like 3 or 4 weeks of the season, you're getting value across the board on over 1.5 touchdowns. Those days are gone. Like Dak Prescott, if you want him, it's probably 1.5 if you can find the alts. 230, 240, 250 for him tonight to throw 2 touchdowns. Jacoby Brissett, like that's a guy that's usually should be at 1.5, Tom, plus 125, plus 130. He's minus 154. Now, granted, it is sometimes leveled up on who you play, where you play him. Month of November, in a dome, fast track, bad defense. Yeah, it's up there. But, boy, you are not getting any bargains anymore on this. If I had to choose, like I do think Dak has a chance to throw 3. But I'm not betting 3 touchdowns. I don't care if he throws 5. 3 is a ridiculous number. And Jacoby Brissett, I do think can throw 2 touchdowns. But that number at minus 154, back away right again on those, Tom.
Yeah, and this comes down to being price sensitive. I just looked at Dak's alts, at least on FanDuel. It is minus 250 for 2 touchdowns. That's crazy. And it's not like you missed the number and it was 1.5 earlier in the week. And it's just always going to be a 2.5, especially with a total this high. Finding these newer markets or secondary markets really instead of passing yards, that's where you can find a lot of value. And because we are dealing with such a high total, I have to say, I think the interception market for both of them is really interesting tonight. When we have a high total and quarterbacks will be dropping back this much, just the propensity to throw a pick is going to be there because there's so much risk if you're going to be throwing the ball close to 40 times. So even though the interceptions may be variable, getting minus 114 on both sides isn't the worst thing. I would love for one of them to be at plus money, but that's obviously not the case because that is baked into the game total of 53.5 that they will be throwing the ball.
Yeah. Let's look at the rushing props in this game because Javonte Williams, again, is that lead back in Dallas. He's 69.5 tonight. Yeah. But the question's going to be, which side are you going to for the Cardinals? Now, take out Jacoby Brissett, 14.5, Dak Prescott, 7.5. You got Bam Knight listed at 49.5 and Michael Carter at 23.5. I don't know enough about what I'm supposed to get out of either one of those to bet, but the one thing I do know, Tom, is Dallas' defense is bad. You should be able to run for 50 yards if you're the lead back, but it's one of those where, oh, no, I went with Bam Knight. He got 32 rushing yards, and Michael Carter had a good night because he got a couple extra carries. I stayed away from the running back spots, but we'll get to the touchdown props a bit. I do think Javonte Williams can cash that way, but running back perspective tonight for you, Tom, anything?
It's tough. Javonte Williams, I will say, has exceeded my expectations this year, and it's largely due to the fact, I'm not going to say solely due to the fact, but it's largely due to the fact that he has no competition. Miles Sanders is still on IR. Jaden Blue, their rookie, is inactive tonight. So Javonte Williams, although I think he's kind of average overall, he still sees the majority of the work. So him getting to 70-plus yards is something that is consistently done, even though it may be inefficient at times. I would trust Bam Knight over Michael Carter, and the running back room for the Cardinals has been a mess after the injuries that they had with losing James Conner and Trey Benson and DeMercado with the benching. So I like Bam Knight tonight. 49.5, I think, is a fine number. You're not going to get any better than that. I saw it at 50 on DK. So I would take Bam Knight over Michael Carter. Michael Carter generally plays the pass down role.
Yeah, players' longest rush tonight, too. Bam Knight, only 11.5 here listed as FanDuel. So one of those options that you could take a look at. If you're looking at player rush attempts, there's 16.5 for Javonte Williams, 12.5 at a plus money number for Bam Knight on those spots. Not in love with the running back position, but we'll see how it plays out tonight. Wide receiver position, different story. A lot of guys listed here as I look just at FanDuel. CeeDee Lamb, always the lead dog in the clubhouse, 81.5 receiving yards. We'll start with Dallas here. George Pickens, 63.5, and then Jake Ferguson. I know Mike Parsons was asking about that. Any thoughts on those three? Because sometimes for me, I just look at the eyesight and I say, yes, CeeDee should get that, and George Pickens, but I like to look for those value numbers. I think CeeDee can get 100 yards tonight, but I'm not in love with that.
Right.
Javonte Turpin, 19.5. Javonte Williams, 13.5. Guys down the list. But how do we feel about the Dallas pass catchers tonight?
Tonight, the Cowboys kind of remind me of the Seahawks last night. Like JSN's number, Jackson Smith and Jake on the Seahawks last night. His number is 99 last night.
Yeah.
And he went over that. He's having an unbelievable season. He had putting up crazy stats left and right. But last night, I was talking with Brady, and we were talking about Torrey Horton, who had 2 touchdowns for the Seahawks in the first half. He stepped up big. Cooper Kupp was out last night. Tonight, that player for me is Jake Ferguson. I like him over 40.5 receiving yards. I do think he is in for a bounce back, as Mike Parsons was asking. Donut last week versus the Broncos. Some of that's just the defense that they were going up. And I know his role is slightly changed compared to where it was early in the year when CD is out. But we look at the Cardinals defensively. They're allowing nearly 70 yards per game to opposing tight ends. So Ferguson does play a really consistent option in that passing offense. And I think the middle of the field should be open for him. I think he could score tonight, but I like him over 40.5. He's in for a bounce back.
Yeah, it's funny too because you look at those guys that line up on Dallas, the usual suspects, and I do think Dak bounces back from that performance against Denver. A little bit different defense here at home, usually performs well. For the pass catchers for the Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr. is 58.5. Trey McBride continues to get steam here. He's close to 70 now, 68.5 receiving yards. And then you have the other options: Michael Wilson 27.5, Zay Jones 20.5, Greg Dortch 5.5. Is it just too easy to say they won't be able to control McBride and that's the way you look? Or do you have value anywhere else? Because for me, again, I would like to take Marvin Harrison, but the inconsistencies are always there. We know McBride's going to get the football, but can he get the 70 yards? Those are the things that we wind up with here.
Right. I would look to McBride first and then Michael Wilson second. Just give me a low number. He'd probably get it done in 2 or 3 catches. Like, he doesn't need to be a dominant target share guy over 25 or 30% in order to come through on 27.5. And again, this is, largely what you are expecting, or should fall in line largely with what you're expecting for the game overall. If you're expecting points or close to 50 some odd points, multiple of these players are going to be going over. So give me McBride, Wilson, and then Marv in that order. Frankly, with Marv, I would be most interested in his longest reception at 24.5. I mean, that's a high number. If you can find a 23 or 22, that's why I like it. But that's almost a better play than simply just getting up to 58 for him.
Yeah, take a look, too. And again, some of this deals with Kyler Murray, some of it doesn't. Lost 16-15, lost 20-20. By the way, the San Francisco 49ers, good record here, 16-15, they lost that game. Seattle, very good, lost 23-20. Tennessee's bad, lost that game 22-21, so another close one. Those were Kyler Murray games. Now you flip it over and say, all right, well, Jacoby Brissett hasn't won a game, but it was Indianapolis, right, on the road, and it was Green Bay. Both of those teams have good defenses. Brissett, Tom, 320 against Indianapolis and 279 against Green Bay. In those games, the leading receivers, Jones for 79 yards against Indianapolis and McBride 74 for Green Bay. So when you look at it and say, well, hey, Carolina or New Orleans, no, they were 2 really good defenses that Brissett was able to sling the football. I do think he's going to have success tonight. So if I look at the numbers for the Cardinals, I do think McBride has a chance to get that. I probably would go McBride over everybody, but you know me, Tom. Yeah. Look at that Zay Jones, 20.5, Michael Wilson, 27.5. If we're pricing around, let's call it 240, somebody else has to catch passes other than McBride and Harrison.
They really do. And again, Michael Wilson would be that guy for me. Bam Knight coming out of the backfield. Again, if he's just going to be seeing the majority, I think that's totally fine. I will say, if you like a player like Michael Wilson, him going for 40 is not out of the question. Yeah. He's at 27. I would throw a very, quarter unit on him going to 40 plus, alt him up a little bit. He gets over 27. You get that through, and then if you can get to 40, it's really gravy after that. You get that at nice plus money.
Let me see that. The last game against Green Bay, 10 catches for McBride, 74 yards on 13 targets.
Yeah,
Ray Jones had 2 targets, caught them both for 67 yards. Marvin Harrison for 58 yards, 6 targets. Michael Wilson, 3 for 40. Michael Carter, 2 for 25. Bam Knight, 3 for 7. Dortch, 2 for 5. So the football should be spread around. And Jacoby Brissett against Green Bay, again, pretty good defense. 110 passer rating in that game, and also was sacked 6 times. So he was not even getting flustered after getting buried in the pocket. Something to keep an eye on tonight. The touchdown score props, which I like tonight. I'm telling you right now, I didn't bet Javonte Williams, but he's going to score a touchdown tonight. If they get inside the 3-yard line, Tom, he gets the football. That's what they do. But I do like CeeDee Lamb. DraftKings had the best number early in the day, Tom, plus 105. FanDuel's listed minus 105. So from a Dallas side of things, where are you going tonight on the touchdown props?
We're not getting great numbers. No. I'll say that. Granted, we are dealing with a 53 and a half total, so that is baked into it. But I mean, again, if you just gave me Pickens and Ferguson, since they're both at plus money and one of them comes through, I think you're fine. That's what I really do think happens. What it comes down to is, we'd always have these discussions, last year, but
Yep.
Javonte, CD, Pickens, Ferguson, I think three of those four guys score.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. I don't want to lay the minus 165 on Javonte. It'd be great even if CD was just that even money and you got him at plus 100, plus 105, like I said earlier, you give me three of the options at plus money, I'll take those all. And I think two of the three come through at least.
Yeah, because if I'm looking, again, just playing wideouts, because I like to double them up when they're plus money. I do think Jacoby Brissett has a chance to throw 2 touchdown passes tonight. McBride's plus 110, Harrison is plus 135. He's throwing touchdowns. One of those two guys is a good red zone option, and that's what we like, sort of that throw it up feature. Same thing with the Dallas Cowboys. The reason why you like George Pickens at plus 125, the dude's a one-on-one machine. They're going to throw it up, but also, they love that back shoulder fade, deep fade in the corner of the end zone to CeeDee Lamb. I like CeeDee the best out of the bunch, but I could see George Pickens, I could see Marvin Harrison Jr., and I could see Trey McBride with touchdowns tonight.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Well, I assume what's their team total at? It's got to be 28.5 for Cowboys total points. It's 28.5. So 4 touchdowns. Again, those 4 players should be doing the scoring. If someone else happens to come through, some random player, stand for their backup tight end, or Shoemaker happens to score, sure, but still, that's one of them. And I still think 2 or 3 of those main 4 guys score. It's good from a prop perspective for the Cowboys that their offense is very centered around these guys. Javonte Williams has no competition in the backfield. It's CD, it's Pickens, it's Ferguson, and that's who Dak's going to be throwing to. Sure, Turpin or Tolbert may catch a pass here or there. They're not main options in the offense. When push comes to shove, these 4 players will be doing 80+% of the work for the Cowboys, and that's actually a good thing for props. Now, we will never get immense value on a Ferguson who's only plus 120, but at least we know the ball is going to be going to him.
And also, yesterday, I had a fun prop that I gave out as one of my free plays, and 4 in a row, and those going for number 5 tonight. It was on the team rushing props combined for the 49ers and the New York Giants, 240.5, which sounded a lot. And the first half wasn't going that well. They hit the gas pedal in the second half. Both of those teams ran for well over 100 yards. That was great. So looking at the props tonight, Tom, the main props, passing yards tonight combined, 527.5 at a minus 120 price. Any thoughts on that? Doesn't matter who's the quarterback, 527.5.
That seems pretty good.
Seems doable.
It really does. I mean, Dak could as Dak's in the high 260s, he could very easily push to 3. Brissett only needs 2 and change at that point. That's actually a pretty solid line. Take
a look at the rushing yards tonight, Tom, for both teams combined, 229.5. I would. Sometimes look at the rushing props, and I say to myself, when I took the Giants, because I know the quarterback's going to get a chunk of yards. I know, backfield now by committee, which is Singletary and, Tracy. I was like, okay, I have a couple chances. Same thing with the 49ers. I know I'm not going to get anything really out of Mac Jones, but I'm going to get something out of Christian McCaffrey and also their backup as well. I look at this game tonight. I guess there are some backups. I don't know if we get 230 rushing yards combined in this game, Tom. I don't know if that's the path.
I don't either. And, frankly, if I told you Dallas was up at halftime 17-3, would you be shocked?
No. Not overly shocked.
Cardinals are coming off a bye. Brissett, this is his 3rd game. But even if there's a slow start from either one of these teams, they will abandon the run and it'll be pure passing. And it's not like the passing is going to face any resistance because the defenses are so bad. What is Dallas right now? Dallas defense is, they're 31st in EPA per play. Cardinals are 20th in EPA per play. These are terrible defenses overall. Yep. Dallas is 31st in EPA pass per play. Cardinals are also 20th in both EPA overall and pass EPA per play. So I think they will abandon the run, and there's no chance they would get close to 200 yards.
Now, if you had a choice per team, Tom, Arizona 113.5, Dallas 111.5.
Rushing?
Yeah.
I would take Dallas based on the fact that I think there's a greater chance that they're up leading. Therefore, Javonte can run the ball.
Yep. Rushing attempts there, 25.5 on both sides. Rushing touchdowns, expensive here, but they're giving you the half option, minus 225 for the Cardinals. Last 5 games, 0-0, 3-1, and then 0. The Dallas Cowboys, Tom, 2-1, 0, 1-2, but they're 1.5 at a plus 185 price. If I'm... And the one plus 1.5, they don't want you taking 1 because you just bet Javonte to score a touchdown at that point. I don't know if they get 2, but I'm almost assured you're getting 1 out of the Dallas Cowboys stand on the ground.
Right. If they get inside the 5, Javonte, again, he sees all the work. There's no competition for him. The only thing would be some type of trick play to Hunter Lepke, their fullback. I wouldn't take it just because I think Dak has a greater chance to throw for 3 than they do to run for 2. And I would just play the Dak over 2.5, which I don't like, to be clear, but I think that would be better than taking 2 rushing touchdowns.
Some fun props tonight. You know what prop I bet tonight, Tom, here on FanDuel under what section would that be on?
Game specials?
The game specials, yes. $25 wager I put down just for some fun. CeeDee Lamb, we talked about this morning, and Trey McBride. 5 receiving yards in each quarter apiece. It's a 6-to-1 price, $25, pays back $175. I'm just looking for, give me through the first quarter. Give me 5 yards for CeeDee Lamb, 5 for McBride. I legitimately think I have a great shot at this bet as it holds, but they're always tough. They look so good on paper. I was like, well, yeah, they got to get 5 every quarter. He goes without a catch in the third quarter.
What's the price on it?
6-to-1 price, plus 600.
Where is this? In each quarter. Okay.
In each quarter, yeah.
Could I interest you in Lamb and McBride to have 25 in each half?
Yes,
that's 320.
Yeah.
So you increase your margin of error because it has to be in the half, doesn't be first drive, whatever. But you're obviously not getting as good of a price, and it's plus 320.
I love it. Like I just, if I'm looking at 2 quarterbacks that should be able to get after it, and I'm taking the 2 top targets, like, hey, look, if CD goes for 35 in the first quarter, 4 in the second quarter, and whatever he does, then well, you know what I mean? Like, I think what I tried to bank it on, Tom, is let's just say 2 possessions each team minimum per quarter. Yeah. If I take the 2 best pass catchers and not great defenses to get 5 yards, you're basically asking 1 catch per quarter from each one of these guys is what you're asking for.
Yeah, I think that's totally fine. And again, it's a way to play game scripts overall. Yeah. You know, this is something that, you know, I've done in the past where you take a running back to have 10 yards in each quarter, and you just hope the game script stays in your favor.
Yeah.
Like, as long as they're not trailing from, you know, they're down by 2 touchdowns and they have to pass the ball. If they are operating rationally within 1 score, the running back will have his chances. It's just about him coming through with it.
Oh, how about this, Todd? Did you see the Kay Adams bets here tonight? Number 1, the first one I don't like. It's Dak Prescott and Jacoby Brissett to combine for 5+ touchdown passes. I think they can do that. But plus 135 is ridiculous. I need more money for that. And also, it is player specific. Somebody gets injured, you don't get that carry on there. It's not 5 touchdowns for the game. It's between those 2 guys. Now, also, you saw yesterday, like, hey, the Chicago Bears, they threw a touchdown pass. One was from their running back at that point. Those would really hurt. But CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens to combine for 2+ touchdowns is plus 175. It's not a great price point, but I can see both of those guys scoring. I can.
Yeah, this is what we always get from the specials, where you're like, wow, that is really reasonable. Yeah, like, it is, but you're never going to get a great price on it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they limit you on it. Like, you can't put, like, you're going to be limited. You can only put down like $25 or $50 on there. Like, and sure, if you come through $50 on plus 175, that's great, but you'll probably never be able to get significant action on it. Yeah. So that's a totally fun bet to have on a standalone island game, but just take that for what it is. It's like a fun bet you're just trying to root through.
It's funny too, because I'm putting numbers in here, but it won't do it unless I try to actually like bet it. Oh, wait, no. Max wager for me is $6,800 on that. Yeah. Like, I'd probably be more likely to bet $68, but I typed in 30 grand and it told me, no, you can go up to $6,800 on that one. Let me see what the other one is. What are they going to let you on that plus 135 bet? Let me put in 30 grand. See what they say on that. They like $8,900. You can bet Dak Prescott.
Maybe you can get decent action down on it.
I like this different stuff. Let me go back to some, like, what would they allow you to bet just on?
It's obviously different for every person, just so everyone's clear.
Yeah, let's see what we got here. So Dak Prescott to go over 267. Let me see, like, just his regular passing prop. Let me type in 30 grand again. They'll let you bet $27,000.
Well, that's you.
What about you though? Like,
I mean, I have. Let me check because
I just want to see if it's a little bit different at that point, because they don't let me bet Jack on like any, like, it's $10 bonus bets for me. Like, I get nothing of that.
And everyone's different. Obviously, depends on what you're looking. So you did Dak passing yards.
Dak passing yards, yeah.
Over his normal. Let me just,
like, look. If I want to go over 2.5 touchdown passes, they would allow me to bet 11,500 on that.
Let me just max this out. Let's see, 999.
How about the whack numbers here? This is interesting. I'm gonna take a look at some of these young.
What did you say your max was for Dak?
Like 11 grand.
Yeah, man. Mine's 16.
16,000.
Yeah.
There you go. Look at you, man. I want to get you paid. By the way, let me see this. Let me just go to like Greg Dortch. Like, if I want to just take Greg Dortch over 6.5 yards tonight, let's see what they would let me get down on that. $10,000 now. Let me get over to the under. Let me see what they're doing on that. Like this, one of those, like flat. Like
yeah, I'm at the same spot.
Like let me see, if they let me get $10,000 on Dortch's under 6.5, that'd be flagged. Like, hold on now.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny stuff. Usually it's like, oh, cap you at $500, but that's why they flag some of those accounts. So that's how it winds up. So tonight, Tom, looking for yardage, looking for points. I like a lot of touchdown passes tonight. I do think CeeDee Lamb scores a touchdown. And the fun bet I had was 5 yards each quarter for CeeDee Lamb and then also Trey McBride there. We'll see how that one plays out. What do you got tonight?
I like Ferguson to have a bounce back week. Frankly, I'm going to throw a little bit on Ferguson to have a catch on the first drive, catch pass on the first drive. I do think Dak gets him involved early. He's in a good spot. Again, defensively, the Cardinals are allowing over 70 receiving yards per game to opposing tight ends. I think that's a good spot for him. I like Jacoby under 35.5 passing attempts. What we've seen from him in the past 2 weeks, I don't think is the standard game plan or should be the standard game plan for the Cardinals. I don't think they want to turn this into a shootout. And again, I think 3 of the 4 of Javonte, CeeDee, Ferguson, and Pickens. I think 3 of the 4 come through. I'll bet on Pickens and Ferguson. You give me the plus money, that's where I'll take it.
Yeah, there we go. Monday Night Football on deck here. Going to kick off in about 15 minutes. That'll do it for the show tonight. We'll be back Thursday night. Let's cash in some tickets.
What is Thursday?
Thursday is
it Raiders Broncos?
It's the Raiders and the Broncos, which is good because it's a 41.5, but that just means I'm loading up on Denver to slice that bad defense.
Oh, they should.
I'm actually interested to see this. Like Geno Smith, I think stinks, but Brock Bowers coming back, and if they don't trade Jacoby Myers, like there are some options for that game where you're going to get interceptions and touchdowns on both sides. I actually don't mind that. It's like a 10-point line, but Las Vegas defense will be bad, which I love, but their offense actually might be able to complete some passes now. So it might be
they could losing that game 28-17.
Yeah.
Like that's not the worst case scenario. Like obviously the Raiders, they don't cover or whatever.
Brock Bowers just like
unbelievable.
Start the season, we looked like he was going to be like 1,500-yard wide or tight end. Gets injured, comes back, first game back, and was just the best player on the football field.
Just like it was last year. Just a reception machine.
Just smashing it up. All right, boys, that'll do it. Enjoy the night. See what happens and cash in some tickets.